Okay, the question is on oxygen depth. Yay! Because a lot of people requested for this. So you all do this question, right? It's open-ended. And I'm going to give you a hint before you start, okay? You just need to look at the oxygen uptake graph. And they're asking, the person finished exercising at this place, minute 7. Explain, no need to quote data, just explain why the amount of oxygen he uses does not immediately go back to resting levels, which is this level. Why is it, still so high? So here's what they mean by it. Let me draw for you. Okay. So this red line is showing you what it should be. Okay. Once he stops exercising, he don't need to take so much oxygen, right? So it should go all the way down to normal again. This is the normal level. It should have gone down to, oops, sorry. Move that up. Yes, okay. So the question is, why does he need to take in so much extra oxygen? You see, this shaded area shows you the extra volume he has been taking in for no good reason. Okay, I mean, there is a good reason, but that's your job to explain why does he need to take this extra oxygen. Okay, so that is how to do this question. Do not need to write like perfect answer, long one. Just write the points 1, 2, 3, 4, 4 points for 4 marks. And you can use as much short forms as you like because you're training your thought process. Okay, I give you quite a long break and time to do. 4:07 only, then you come back. No need to send me also, in the chat. Just write on your own paper. So we shall resume in the interest of time. Okay, some people forgot your Sec 3 stuff. It's okay. That's why you're here, right? To revise them. And maybe you've never learned some of the things properly even. So that's the point. Okay. The question is, why need the extra oxygen? That really is the question. Why need extra oxygen? So it's the concept of oxygen depth, right? That's like the title of this page, oxygen depth. See? So I'm gonna explain the concept because some of us are not don't really understand what in the world it is. Okay, so it works like this. Imagine that you always go to the same canteen store during recess. Okay, I was like that, I always buy from the same place. Who else is like me? Like you always go to the same place or almost always to the same place. Who else? Okay. Yes, there's some people like that. Yes. Yeah, we like familiarity, right? Okay, so let's say one day you went and you bought your normal food and it costs like maybe $4 or something, okay? And you open your wallet, then you're like, oh, I only have $2, right? Because you lack money. So you not enough money to pay. Okay. But because you go every day, right? So the uncle of the store knows you, and the canteen uncle is like, it's okay, it's okay. You pay me tomorrow. I still will give you the food. Okay. So the canteen uncle is very nice. He gives you the food, even though you didn't pay the full thing. Okay, then the next day, you always go right to the same place. So the next day, you go and buy again from him. But this time you pay extra $2 on top of your meal. Okay, to pay him back, right? Because yesterday you owe him $2. So this concept, if you understand this principle, then that is actually what our body does with oxygen. So how? So when you lack money, it's like when your body has not enough oxygen to keep up with the energy demand. So when we're exercising really hard, the energy demand is very high, right? And we need oxygen for aerobic respiration to make energy, to release energy. And if you don't have enough oxygen, then you're like owing your body oxygen, right? You owe your body. Okay, so the canteen uncle, even though you owe him money, like you didn't have enough money to pay, he still give you. Okay, and then he says, okay, next time you pay me back. So your body also is like the canteen uncle. The body will still generate the energy for you, even though you didn't pay with oxygen. Okay. This is using what process? How does it generate energy for you even when you don't pay enough oxygen? What's the process called? 2 words. Starts with A. Then the other one starts with R. Good. AJ, Raga, Jaden, Kendra, Brian, YJ, correct. David, Kevin. Wow, very good. So N, Stephanie, anaerobic respiration. So anaerobic means without oxygen. Yes. Okay, aerobic is with oxygen. So last part, the canteen uncle expects you to pay him back eventually, right? So the next day, you pay extra money. So that's why after you rest, right, you need to pay back extra oxygen to the body. So you pay back to the body extra oxygen later. Okay, by breathing extra to pay back. So all get it? Maybe you've had this exact scenario before where you owe money, then they're like, oh, tomorrow I give you, or next time. Yeah, I think that happened to me before. Okay, so now that's the concept of oxygen debt. We will later put this in our answer. Before I go through the answer, I need to teach you another thing, which is in this race or whatever his exercise was, right? Here's my question. During the exercise period, he used which of the three? Which of the two? Aerobic or anaerobic or both? Okay, so you send your answer 1, 2, or 3. Do you think he used aerobic only, anaerobic only, or both? Okay. Yes. Oh, good job. Most people got it correct. Okay, the answer is both, actually. So why is it both? You need to understand. When we don't demand so much energy, right? Aerobic respiration can produce up to this amount of energy for us. Okay, so blue bar is aerobic. Now, when we demand more than what the aerobic can supply, because there is a limit, the aerobic will try its best, okay? It will max out already for you. Aerobic is doing all it can, but you need extra. So the extra energy generated is from anaerobic respiration, okay? And anaerobic then will have a oxygen debt, O2 debt, okay? So what does this mean? See this person, he's breathing extra oxygen. That proves to you he had an oxygen debt that he's trying to repay, okay? If he had an oxygen debt, it shows he used anaerobic. If he used anaerobic, it shows his body already maxed out the aerobic. So it tells me he used both. Do you get my logic? Okay. So now that we know that, we can put this in the proper answer. So the question again is, why did the oxygen amount he used not immediately fall back to resting levels, even though the exercise finished? Okay. So here's how to explain. During the exercise, the energy demanded from what exactly? What is the body doing that is demanding energy? 2 words. Okay. And this thing that is doing exceeded that which could be supplied by aerobic respiration. Yes. Brian, Jaden, good job, correct. Raka, correct. Does anaerobic respiration produce that much energy? Yes, yes. Okay, so a bit of a sidetrack. Wait, actually, I should finish this first. Yeah. So the answer here is muscular contractions. Right? This is the key phrase to use. Don't just say, oh, energy demanded from muscles. Because what are the muscles doing, right? Is muscular contractions. That's the key phrase that they want to see, then they give you the mark. Okay, very commonly used in those kind of exercising questions or running a race. Use this. Okay, so a bit sidetracked. Someone asked, the anaerobic, right? You see, I drew very tall graph. Is this true? Does anaerobic generate this much? I thought it's just a little bit, not that big. Okay, you know, when you lift weights at the gym, right? And maybe you don't go to the gym, but maybe you've done some kind of activity in PE, like push-ups or something. And once you do too many of those reps, you feel the soreness, right? You feel the pain in your muscles. And then you're like, oh, very pain, cannot already. Then you die. Then you just stop. So that that buildup of the pain, okay, is due to anaerobic respiration. The more you use anaerobic, the more pain you'll feel. And so the fact that we feel like, let's say in a normal set of, let's say, bicep curls when I do, right? The first few reps, maybe almost no pain. But the rest of the reps, I feel a lot of pain, right? Throughout the whole thing. So that shows me that anaerobic is actually, you know, giving me a lot of the energy throughout the set. And at the end of the set, I was like, oh, I cannot already. Okay, it's because it has gotten to the point where there's too much lactic acid. So anaerobic generates most of the energy whenever you're doing something intense, like a short burst. Okay, so if you're sprinting, if you're lifting weights for an intense set, it will be the bulk of the energy generated. Okay, but if you're doing something lower intensity like jogging, marathon running, then it will generate only a very little proportion. Most of it would come from aerobic. Okay, so let's continue our next sentence. We will say additional energy. So keyword additional, because we're trying to say it's on top of the aerobic. Additional energy is generated by anaerobic respiration. And this produces, just now I already said answer. Can you tell me what is the byproduct? As a byproduct. Yes, good job. Lactic acid is the byproduct. Okay, so whenever you use anaerobic, you will have to pay back the oxygen, right? So we call this incurs an oxygen debt. Incur is like you accumulate an oxygen debt, okay? It's just the best word to use, incur. Which equals to, so now I'm defining what it means. Oxygen debt is the amount of oxygen needed to remove lactic acid from the body. Okay, last year, 2023 and before, this concept, right, was more in-depth in the syllabus. But now they are very nice. 2024, they've made this simpler. They've reduced. So that's why the definition is also simpler. Last time, it used to be like, this is the amount of oxygen needed to oxidize lactic acid back into glucose at the liver. Okay? Which is actually what happens now. Like, the lactic acid needs to be broken down. See? So, if your school taught you that, they are using the outdated definition. Okay? But this definition here is okay because the O-level syllabus has been simplified for this year. Okay, it's needed to remove lactic acid from the body. That is the definition. Okay, last point. So we are now concluding, linking back to the question. Therefore, right after 7 minutes, which is when he stopped, he still breathes heavier than at rest. Why? To gain extra oxygen. It's like when you pay back the uncle more money than the food costs. Even though it only costs $4, you gave him $6 because you had a debt, right? You needed to pay back. So he will keep doing this until he has repaid the oxygen debt. And that's how you answer this question with as many keywords as possible. So anyway, I saw this question about how is lactic acid being oxidized to glucose. I'm going to try and assume the question is like, okay, here's my interpretation of what you're trying to ask. Lactic acid, right, is a byproduct, okay? It needs to be removed from the body. It's not good to have extra acids floating around in your body. So how do we remove it? we need to break it down back into glucose. Okay, so that is what happens in the liver. It will break it down back to glucose. So you don't actually have to learn this in syllabus though. Yeah, but that is how the body removes it. Okay, remove lactic acid from the body, right? Yeah, that's what happens to it. Okay, done?